Uzbekistan's carpets and embroidery have always been the jewel in the crown of its national culture. They were transported from Samarkand and Bukhara, from Termes and Khwarezm to the Middle East and Europe via the Silk Road. They were regarded works of art and widely admired. They gradually became sought after as objects to be collected. Today we're going to tell you about rare examples from the 19th and the early 20th century that are held in foreign museums and private collections. The carpets and embroideries presented in these collections are only a portion of Uzbekistan's huge heritage, for both embroidery and carpet weaving have roots stretching back into antiquity. What we are about to show you will demonstrate that by the 19th and the 20th centuries, folk art had traveled a long evolutionary path. This can be seen in the Efrasiab frescoes that have preserved fragments of vibrantly embroidered clothing. During the Eastern Renaissance, the ancient cities and oases of Uzbekistan were famous for their embroidery and carpets. Even then, these objects were prized far beyond the country's borders. By the 19th century, the embroideries and carpets of Uzbek khanates attracted the attention of both Russian and European travelers and collectors, researchers, and artists who came to the region. In the 20th century, collecting works of Uzbek applied arts became a passion for many. There are actually lots of Uzbek textile lovers all over the world. When I encountered foreign collectors, dealers and experts, myself just starting out, I saw this huge love of Uzbek embroidery and its popularity. They were seeking the finest works, and now true masterpieces can be found in private collections. Unique collections of Uzbek decorative and applied arts are owned by the Minneapolis Institute of Arts in the USA. Embroideries, garments and accessories from Uzbekistan are exhibited here, along with classic paintings and sculptures. The so-called tribal embroideries, bags of lokais and kongrats, also known as ilgic, are seen as the most valuable. They are valued highly for their authenticity and unique decoration. There are very few of these pieces held in Uzbekistan. Lokai and kongrat embroideries show the traditions of the steppe region. The unique and mysterious style of the designs on the bags remind us that they were not used for household purposes, but were rather magic items, representing a visual prayer to the gods. However, the meaning of the most of them has been lost. In contrast, the delicately stitched Suzani made in Shahrisabz, Norata in Bukhara show urban aesthetic traditions. About 200 works of folk art stored in the Minneapolis Institute of Art have been collected for dozens of years. The collection also includes items offered by private collectors. Jack and Aviva Robinson gave 97 embroideries from Central Asia to the museum. This is a painstakingly curated world-class collection. Suzani were made by Uzbek women as part of the dowry for their daughters and granddaughters. Each woman would begin when her daughter was still very small, and when the daughter was old enough, she would join in. Craft traditions were carefully passed down from mother to daughter. If you were to sum up the art of Uzbek embroidery in one word, what would it be? This may amaze you, but the word would be love, because embroidery, as well as carpets, formed part of the dowry. As well as carpets, they formed part of the dowry. Girls prepared for it from childhood. And when we look at the gorgeous works of traditional art, we should try to feel the same emotions that were put into their creation. These pieces were made by young girls expecting to get married and begin their family life. They put their hearts and emotions into these works. Cotton and silk, skillful fingers and inexhaustible patience was all, we might think, those masterpieces took. This Nurata Suzani with traditional floral design depicts the concept of an oriental garden in bloom. It is held in the Powerhouse Museum in Australia. The soft shades of red and pink are the result of delicate dyeing of threads with natural pigments: madder roots, mallow flowers and pomegranate peel, saffron and onion skins. Indigo was used for blue. Threads were colored in city dye houses. Another outstanding piece of embroidery is Joy Push from the 19th century, kept in the Powerhouse Museum. Despite dating back to 1860, it is in superb condition. The exquisite design of the embroidery shows the remarkable skill of the Bukhari embroiderers. Interestingly, some of the patterns are not stitched. This might be explained by the reliance on the next generation to finish the embroidery. This Joy Push was bought by the members of the Asian Arts Society of Australia and offered to the museum. Do you know why Uzbek embroidery is so popular among both experts and the general public? Because this art is multifaceted, with something to suit all tastes and interests. We can look at it and see only its beauty and designs, but other people will pay attention to highly skilled work, the tiny seams and quality of the thread and base. This is a major part of the handicraft tradition. There is also a third layer, when we learn how to read into the design, and then it opens up for us and we can see it in its entirety. For example, as a researcher, I'm particularly interested in this element. Chizma cashers, also known as kalam cashers, were considered the elite among embroideries. Their handicraft was inherited and carried with it an aura of mystery. A chismakash used a sharpened reed and soot dissolved in water to draw on the canvas. Their skill lay in improvisation. It was their ability to create a design that was both recognizable and unique that was highly valued. There is no doubt that they were very talented women. They regarded Saint Bahauddin Naqshbandi, the founder of one of the most influential Sufi orders, as their patron. If you are wondering why, the answer is in his name. Naqshbandi. Naqsh means pattern and band translates as link. This connection to the great Sufi's name made the Chizmakash's work all the more significant. Bahauddin Naqshbandi grew up in a weaver's family. From childhood he mastered the art of crafting designs. His abode near Bukhara is a sacred place for those professing Islam. Now let's leave the blistering heat of noble Bukhara for Hawaii, the residence of Shangri-La in Honolulu, where 15 unique Uzbek Suzanis are kept. This is the museum of Doris Duke, an American collector and philanthropist. A stunningly pretty and passionate woman, Doris spent almost 60 years collecting works of Oriental art and kept them in this wonderful house. It is recognized as a monument of American modernism. According to Doris Duke's will, the Islamic Art Museum was opened there after her death in 1993. 15 Suzanis from her collection are pure masterpieces of embroidery. Doris Duke's collection has repeatedly been exhibited in Honolulu Art Museum, East-West Gallery and Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. The collection has a rare Suzani dating from the 17th century. Some embroideries were purchased by Doris in 1935 on her honeymoon trip around India. Uzbek embroidery could have reached India during the rule of the great Baburids. Even if you don't know or are not aware of the meaning of the designs, even if you cannot understand the symbolism, etc., the embroidery speaks of love, the wish for a happy life together, for many healthy children. This is life and love. This is what Uzbek embroidery is all about. The designs have always dealt with good wishes for the future. They were believed to have magic powers. Floral decorations reflected an ancient cult of a red flower and the related holiday Qızıl Gül Sayırı, public festivities held when poppies and tulips were in bloom. Astral motifs were related to the patronage of celestial bodies. This is where the names of embroideries come from: Ay Palek, moon firmament, and Yıldız Palek, star firmament. Though there are a number of centers with different drawings and compositions, on the whole, Uzbek culture is unique and authentic, attracting enthusiasts and connoisseurs of the traditional arts. Just as in many years ago, today's embroiderers put traditional text to their works. This symbolic language is no secret to those who are familiar with the decorative and applied arts of Uzbekistan. Garnet is known to promise fertility. Floral designs sometimes conceal specific images, because embroidery is a living tradition. My granny used to embroider. She's still alive. She's 93 now. As a child, I used to love the things she made. She taught me to embroider and helped me when I started. Now I do it on my own. My goal is to pass on the tradition from generation to generation, keeping it alive. I have over 200 apprentices, and I do my best to pass on my proficiency to future generations for them to pass it on, keeping it going. The collection of Marilyn and Marshall Worth is another outstanding foreign collection of Middle Eastern culture. They spent 50 years collecting works. These include jewelry, carpets, and embroideries. These Suzanis with classical compositions made by Shahrisabz embroiderers can be regarded as practically ancient. Very old Suzanis are very interesting. They look very rich, and I like working on them and copying them. I'm now working on a copy of a Shahrisabz Suzani. The original was sold for 143,000 euros 2 years ago in Germany. It is huge, and there are a number of embroiderers working on it. We divide the canvases. This is a dress. It is narrow and regarded handiwork. After drawing, we put all these pieces together and 6 or 7 of us work on the Suzani. It usually takes us 7 to 8 months to complete it. The collection of Marilyn and Marshall Worth is particularly interesting for its no-nap carpets, Okienli, Qızgilam, where Uzbek craftswomen acquired great proficiency. They were made using narrow beaming machines. Okienli Qızgilam is a special group of carpets that were made by Kongrats and Lokais. These carpets formed part of the dowry, a gift from mother to her daughter as a wish for a happy life. Our carpets have their own features. Carpet weaving has always been a home-based craft. It is antique and a bit rough, maybe even primitive in its style. But there is a special fascination and authenticity in it. Carpet weaving was usually practiced by cattle breeders. The collection of David and C. Richardson from the UK is one of the most significant private collections of carpets. It contains various objects for decorating yurts. They are characterized by high-quality materials and production skills. Short nap carpets are valuable for getting to know the culture, traditions and aesthetics of the Karakalpaks. Long nap carpets of Uzbekistan, the so-called julhirsus, are collected by Deniz Marquand, a prominent Western scholar of Eastern carpets. He has been collecting them for 40 years. A long nap is not the only feature of julhirsus. The technique used in their production is considered one of the oldest. The people of Bactria practiced it as far back as the Bronze Age. Bactria used to be a large carpet weaving center. In the last 5 to 7 years, archaeologists have found new artifacts, real carpets now positively identified as Bactrian, and that indicate that ancient Bactria was a large carpet weaving center. If we speak about early medieval times, this is famous Sogdian silk. But carpet weaving was practiced at the time as well. This can be found in Afrasiab and Balanlik frescoes showing people sitting on carpets, so it's very clear we have evidence to prove it. In search of ancient techniques, we came to one of the oldest carpet weaving centers in Jom, near Samarkand. We're now guests to a weaver whose skills are hereditary. This is Mother Kunduzkhan Khudayarova. How long have you been doing this? I learned this art at my mother's knee. My parents practiced this craft, and I used to help them as a child, starting from soaking threads to dyeing them. And we did all that ourselves. This is how we made our living. Almost all the people in our settlement wove carpets. What inspires you? I love nature. The colors of our carpets are the colors of nature. There are a lot of mountain flowers and herbs behind our houses. Mother used to tell me that rayan, ısırık, and walnut flowers are the most valuable. This is our tradition. I pick them in the mountains every spring and autumn. How many carpets have you woven? I couldn't say, very many. I've been working since I was 11. I've been weaving carpets for 53 years. They were sold to all parts of the world. Now my daughters and granddaughters continue my work. One of my granddaughters won the Folk Art Awards. We left the mountain settlement as the sun was setting, and we were struck by the power and intensity of this folk art. It bears the wisdom of the common people and the natural beauty of Middle East. No matter how many years may pass, carpets and embroideries will still amaze with their rich designs and vibrant colors. Thanks to treasures of Uzbekistan's cultural heritage in museums of the world, we had the opportunity to learn about several foreign collections of these famous arts, marking a new beginning in our knowledge of the spiritual culture of the Uzbek people. These are pure masterpieces of folk art, and their life continues abroad. They are exhibited. The public gets to learn about them and find out the unique features of Uzbek carpet weaving. They live their full life there. Confronted by such splendor, you begin to understand that these were not just household items, but works of art in their own right, masterpieces full of beauty and spirituality. And every work has the personal story of their creators behind it. Their emotions, experiences, inspiration, their desire to balance out the imperfection of our world. This was the project Treasures of Uzbekistan's Cultural Heritage in Museums of the World. You were guided by Shaknoza Ganieva. Thank you for your attention.